the guy in the Technicolor wig, he had an idea. And the idea was he started clowning at birthday parties. And he developed this dance thing called crumping. And what it led to was actually dance gangs. So between the Bloods and the Crips, these dance gangs grew up. They have battle zones, just like the street gangs have. But they battle it out on the stage or in the street in dance competition. And I think when that was made, there was 70 dance gangs in South Central LA, and it was spreading all over America in poor areas. And the reason I showed it is because I think it's an example of the power of an idea, just creativity. Because that was a creative idea for Tommy the Clown, his name was, to actually do that and bring this gang around it. And between the Bloods and the Crips, they leave them alone. They leave all these dance gangs alone. And their lives are changing. I brought these guys here to Cannes about 5-6 years ago. David LaChapelle made the movie. I brought David LaChapelle and Tommy the Clown and 4 of the other dancers here to open the New Director Showcase. And it was the first time they'd ever been outside of the US. It's the first time they'd ever experienced jet lag. It was really funny. It was like, they didn't know what was happening to them. It was just like this weird sickness. I mean, they thought they were all sick. I took them down to Le Creuset, down on the beach, where they have this amazing, the Carlton, after the showcase. Carlton has this huge sort of place on the beach, amazing buffet. And all they wanted were hamburgers. It's really cool. But for them it was life-changing, that thing, because they weren't in South Central LA anymore. They were actually in Cannes. They were being asked to do things all over the place. And it's just because of an idea. And I just think that's it's a very cool thing. So I'll just show you that. Just as an aside, because we had time, and I thought, what can I show you? NASA. NASA, when I was looking at the resume, he's done a lot of courses, done a lot of stuff, and I saw something on the on his list of things that he's done called mind mapping. And Andre, we were talking at lunch, and he's done a little bit of mind mapping too. And so, does everyone know what mind mapping is? Good, glad you don't. So years ago, when I was at Saatchi's in Australia, and there was a recession, and we couldn't get paid, given raises or any of that. We weren't hiring, and we were firing, and people weren't getting raises. So what they do in that sort of situation is they bring in lots of courses to keep people keep people interested, and like the company's doing something for you. But they brought in a couple of courses. One that I'll show you tomorrow. But one of these courses was this thing called mind mapping. It was part of something else, but it was this thing called mind mapping. And both of these things actually changed the way I work. And they're very cool things. They're tricks, and they're very cool tricks to have. So I'll just tell you a little bit about mind mapping. And NASA and Andre, you can actually enlarge on it, because you actually have different spins on it to what I have, to what was shown to me. Okay, so basically it's a brain dump on paper. And it's a very powerful thing, because I think one of the things that actually stands in the way of you actually getting to a place when you're having to write something, like writing a speech, writing a book, writing something, is all the information that you have in your head. So what's happening is, because I've kind of analysed this now, but I think what's happening is you're trying to have new ideas whilst you're trying to, at the same time, retain all the stuff you already have. So what mind mapping is basically just a simple brain dump onto paper. So you start with whatever the theme is for what you're doing. You just put that in the center of the page here. I don't know, simplicity or whatever. Or you happen to write a speech. If you use mind mapping, you can write a speech literally in about 10 minutes for anything. So what you do is you put down the central sort of thing, and then you just simply write down all the things you know about that around it. And then, so you end up with this circle with all these, everything, you just dump your mind onto the paper, and you put down everything you know about that subject. And then you look at it, and you actually you can see the connection. So you can put a circle around something else and you pull it over to here, and you can get a whole thread of where you need to go with this thing. And it's really that simple. But what it is, I think, is it's being able to stand back and literally look at your mind. So now you're not having to retain information anymore, because everything you know you've just written down. So you're not thinking about it. You're looking at it, and you're going, oh, now you can just organize it. So it simply becomes a question of organization. And it's just a very, very simple trick. But you know, I had to write. CDP did a book on Colette's, and we all had to write a chapter for this book. I wrote a chapter for this book, and it was I think it was a good piece of writing. But I did it literally on a paper tablecloth. I was in a restaurant, there's a paper tablecloth. I just used that. I did a mind map on it. I basically wrote that whole chapter in about an hour. I was just putting it all down, and I asked him if I could keep the map. So we'd be lost without it. But it's a really cool thing. But Nessa, you've got some thoughts on it as well.
Yeah, I think there is another set of mind mapping.
Do you want to come up here and just talk about it?
I think there is advanced step of the mind mapping is to resave that what you write it down in your mind, so you can tell a speech without handing any paper. When I talked in the first session, I had a paper, I wrote it down, but I think I just looked on it once. So it's another step. So when you write down, you just put all of your ideas, you link it together, then you save it again in your mind, so you can talk and imagine the ideas you write it down in your mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I go to
Yeah,
the
go.
computer to make
Yeah.
Right, it's the same thing, but sometimes I have to use it because you get a brief, you have like 6 hours to output something, and I've taken this to clients as it is without them complaining, so that's a good thing. So maybe I'll add it to it. It's free, so I didn't have to pay for it. It's called MindNote. It does exactly that, but on software.
Huh.
Oh, French keyboard. Can I type? No.
They don't have the letter M in French.
It's here and I'm pressing, but it's giving me this. Well, let's trust the search, you know? Oh, no. Can you try?
They might not have it in the French stuff.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, there you go. Oh, not. No.
Let's go, Max.
There you go.
Yay.
So the iPad is baked, but the sorry. Apple is making complex now. But there's also, I'm gonna show this in very quick, just 2 minutes. But there's also a book I just read now, which has more to do what you just said with the imagination. It's a book by Joshua Foer, and this guy. Can you try again for me? Header. I'll put mine up. Oh, dear Lord.
I rest my case for using a piece of paper. It's very
I'm not
simple.
saying I'm not saying it's
Works
better.
for
Huh?
any country.
You have to look for the Batman symbol on the keyboard, then it works.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Where's the ad, man? Do you know, by any chance? Anyway, I'm not saying it's best, but I use it. Sometimes
We just Google an image of it.
So we all just download it ourselves? Exactly.
Yeah. It's just too complex. Fuck. Yeah.
Google Images.
Yeah. Exactly. Can we show here?
Probably letters in a class full of copywriters.
Yeah. But yeah, the book. This Joshua Four guy, journalist. He started interviewing people on. He went as a journalist to an assignment to interview people on the memorizing championship of the U.S.
Oh, it's called, yeah. I read it.
Yeah, and then he
I
talks
read it, I
about
just
spatial.
forget the name.
Yeah.
Reminding me next time.
Ironic, huh?
It's about the rooms. It's all the rooms.
Yeah, the visual spacing, yeah.
Yeah.
Creating mental palaces in your mind and
Yeah.
putting the content there, so
Yeah.
you walk through.
You walk through the room, yeah.
So yeah, that's how it looked like. So basically, you can it's free, so you can download. It's just the bot version. But you put the topic on the center, and you just start branching just by dragging, and you write what you have to write. So let's say I've used a lot of times for when I get the brief and I'm internally, I have to find out what are the deliverables. So I have to do the Facebook app, the icons for this, I have to do a one press ad, I have to do billboards, so I just stretch them out.
Right.
And then I branch them out. So in Facebook, we're doing one ad, one app, one landing page, one this and that. So that I use that for that sometimes to maximize.
So this is so my maps. I mean that's like the skeleton of it, but they don't look anything like that because mine are here. Instead, it wouldn't be a word there. There'd be a whole paragraph.
Yeah, you can write as much as you want though.
Of stuff, you know, and then I might actually pick something from that paragraph and go, oh shit, that reminds me of this bit. And basically you do it until you've got everything out of your head. That's the object of it, is to get everything out of your head that you know. And then you can stand back and look at your head. Scary place to be. And you just reshape it. Just go, this is good. I'll pull that over here. Thank you very much.
But yeah, sometimes for example, doing on brainstorm, let's say you got a brief for Ole, and it's, I had that client there, Ole. So it's for the eyes, under the eyes.
Right.
So then you start the brainstorm, and then you create one campaign line, which is, say, your eyes are beautiful, whatever. So then you put under that branch all the ideas that came up. Then you're ready to close that branch. Okay, we're fine with this one. Let's open another one. So then you branch it out, and then you start throwing ideas. So that's
funny. That's interesting. I've never used it to do ads.
Well,
No, it's just interesting. I know how. I've never used it to do an
and
ad.
sometimes I go and present just like that to the client, just the thoughts.
Well, it's
and
just
then
so
they
you
take
show
it
the
well.
ground that you've covered.
Yeah, I print
Yeah.
it in an A3, put it in a
Yeah.
blackboard, and
I only use it to write stuff, but I've also seen people who are more visual than me, who do the same thing, but they do it visually. You know, and there's one that's great. So you had a question.
No, I was just gonna say, I saw even there's one guy that showed on our agency like his curriculum. His CV was written like that. It was very interesting. It was like what he was doing, and then he kept dividing all these areas of his life that had brought him to the point where he was. It was
Right.
very, very cool.
Well, anyway, it's just it's a simple technique that was shown to me, and I found it very, very useful. And we just came forward.
It is pretty
Good. So in 10 minutes, we've got Patrick Collister coming to do a workshop with us. He's doing. He's ex-ECD of Ogilvy, but what he does is he's got this theory that there are only 7 ideas, and he's doing a workshop in the festival. But he's going to come here and do this thing just for us in a small group. So that'd be cool. But he has this theory that there are 7 basic ideas. And I guess by the time you finish, we'll know what those ideas are. Life will be a breeze. So take 5 minutes off, and then just come back here. Be back here at 5. And see what Patrick's going to say. 5 minutes, yeah. Just take a rest. So we're not all tired out by the time he gets here.
Oh, yeah.